Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Enemchuku and I'm your host for the show. Joining me live in the studio, I have with me my co-host Ifoma Oji. Good evening, how are you doing?
Good evening, Sharon.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
I see you're getting into the spirit.
Yeah. I didn't actually know that we went live.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that we know. Also joining us live in the studio, we have Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Good evening, how are you doing?
Good evening, I'm doing very good.
I can tell. How are we preparing for the weekend?
Well, it's already starting to smell like Christmas. So
yes! Although the Hamatan is not coming as quickly as I would want it to.
It's the sin of Nigeria.
Oh,
maybe
the sins that our politicians have committed is just holding the matter somewhere in the air. We have to pray this Sunday. Can I get an amen? All right, we're going straight to the stories that we have for today. I think because the first story is actually a good news, that is why we are starting on a lighter note. Dangote refinery has reportedly slashed petrol prices to 699 naira per litre. I know many Nigerians are asking what this means for. Now, finally, we're going to a growing public concern over claims that the federal government of Nigeria may be considering arrangements with France, foreign countries, specifically France, granting them access to certain tax-related or economic data. The government has not confirmed such plans, but the conversation is gaining traction online and among policy analysts. Now, we'll separate the facts from assumptions and explore what Nigerians deserve to know, which is the truth. And I'm starting first of all with the fuel prices. Dangote refinery has come out to slash petrol price to 6.99 per litre, and we're just going to be having a full-on conversation what this means for transportation, for the fuel market. We know Dangote is a major player in the oil and gas industry back here in Nigeria, and they set the tone for prices of fuel. Now let's also take it back to when Dangote came out to promise Nigerians that he was going to do something about the exorbitant fuel prices, and now it seems he's living up to his promise. Let's get your take, Ifoma.
Yeah, I think when I saw this, I was very excited. I was quite happy when I saw this. If there's anybody, I'll put it this way, that has economic ideology, I think it should be Dangote refinery. Let's not forget there are lots of controversies concerning his truck and other things, but if there's anybody that has Nigerians' interest at heart when it comes to economic growth, then I give it to Dangote refineries. Then, like I said earlier, that it gladdened my heart when I saw this, because I believe that fuel cost touch almost everything we do on daily basis. The cost of transportation, food prices, and the rest of them. So seeing it reduced to 699 naira for people that are buying directly from the depot, for me is a welcome development. But I think where the caveat lies right now is the transportation. Now we will not see it improving anytime soon, because we still have these people that are still the retail, not the retailers, the people that are the marketers will still go and purchase it, and they will still pay for transportation to purchase it from Dangote gantry, and after that it will come down to retail price and the rest of them. So it might actually stabilize, but I think it's going to take time before that will stabilize. But that's a wonderful news.
All right, coming to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. So first off, we want to take your perspective on the matter, and do you also see this affecting positively transportation costs?
Well, I would say that this is a very, very commendable act. It has shown, it's just proven, the time the Dangote refinery and his group of industry that they have put into actually fixing or rather reducing the price, because I wouldn't say this is the best, but for a long time this is something that is considerate for the average Nigerians. It is something very, very good. This is an ideal economic strategy. This is an ideal example of what we expect when we hear about reforms, and not just using a particular person's name to brand the economy.
Exactly.
Then I would say that I would agree with Ms. Ifoma that the problem now is transportation, because this will have to go around the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. And the cost of transportation might actually add to the price that the final consumers you purchase at. But I feel this is where the government has to step in. You know, they have to help facilitate this development to actually make it
stable.
You know, stable and have a real sense. Then generally at Mr. Dangote's personality, we've seen that this is someone who has actually, despite his achievements as a president, who has already made the Forbes list of richest Africans.
Of course.
He has still, you know, remembered his home, Nigerians. Aside from the oil industry, he has been investing in education all across Nigeria. So I would say that this is a man who is doing well for Nigerians.
It is remarkable, it is laudable what Dangote has just done. Let's also talk about, we know it's not just Dangote, right? Let's look at the competition now. Do you see the 699 naira per litre just affecting or changing the competitive landscape in the oil and gas industry? Do you think others would follow suit as well?
You know, this should be the 20th time this year that Dangote is adjusting their prices, reducing their prices. So I'm asking about competitions. Yes, this will mount pressure on other, you know, sectors, especially people that are into, you know, oil production and petrol production locally. And I believe this will equally reduce our importations of all these fossil fuels, because when we can have such affordability of our locally produced petrol, it will actually reduce the dependency on importation of these fossil fuels. So will it mount pressure on local other refineries to reduce theirs? Yes, it will mount pressure.
Okay. So after this news came on board, a lot of people have been saying, oh, this would affect the exchange rates and affect the stock market and all of that. Do you think that this would really affect our exchange rate?
Yes, it's fuel, but it doesn't just end at that. What personally I want to see it affect is the general how NNPC regulates their own price. Because, you know, Dangote refinery is just a quarter of the oil industry in Nigeria. So they are not actually controlling the whole market. Let's say about a quarter of it. So this change they have made now, it needs to affect the NNPC, because if it does, then you know that things will be very relatively better in Nigeria. And if it is, then it automatically translates into you know, reducing dollar rates and stabilizing our economy. So I hope that the government does not go for to start liaising with him to increase his price back, because when we see what it just means that a man is now competing with the government, because if he's doing better, the people would most likely patronize him. And I hope that I hope that the government does not try to, you know, use the over, you know, the leverage they have as a government to try to disrupt his activities, as
sabotage his plan to reduce the price of fuel. All right, we would want to see that not happen. But Ifeoma, do you think this would trigger wider domestic refining investment, in the sense that more people domestically in Nigeria would be looking forward to now investing in our refineries?
Yes, most definitely. I think I mentioned earlier about our over dependency on importation of oil, this petroleum. But when we see that we have somebody that could actually produce this locally and then sell at that rate, it's more like a motivating factor for other people.
More can still be done.
More can still be done in Nigeria. And just like I said, I mentioned the competitions, but I forgot to mention the fact that even the federal government are placing some levies on all these, you know, import duties and the rest of them. So this Dangote, this, like I said earlier, to try to an extent to stabilize the economy, but the federal government still need to work on a lot of levies that they place on all these, you know, what's it called,
the oil and gas. You know, that's actually my next question. The fact that we are seeing government policies, and we know that whatever policies the governments make, it would definitely affect every and all industry. So I'm asking, how do you think government policies would, you know, do you think it has any great influence over this, you know, price shift for fuel now?
Yes, of course. The government largely controls the regulation of oil price in Nigeria. You know, they are dominating that particular sector. That is why entrepreneurs who are in that particular sector are struggling because there is so much influence from the federal government. You see the levies, the taxes imposed on them. It's so difficult for them. But then at the same time, I am really happy that we can see a Nigerian, someone from the private sector who has been able to beat the federal government at their own game. If the federal government, if Nigeria actually if they were doing the right thing, utilizing the oil bunkers we have in Nigeria very well, there is nothing wrong with them partnering with a private sector in trying to, revitalize the oil sector in Nigeria and actually do not rely on importation, but then produce it at home and then export. But they have failed in doing that, and that's why it's now looking like a competition instead of collaboration.
Oh, I like that. It's now looking like a competition instead of a collaboration. But I think it's ironic that we're seeing this big, bold move coming from the private sector and not the government, not coming from NNPC. But I'm just going to ask, do you think, Ifoma, that now that we've heard this price and it's not as good as it used to be before when it concerns fuel prices, but it's the best we've seen in a long time. How do you think this would do you think people would start hoarding, or they will have a supply manipulation following this announcement?
It's possible, but like I said earlier, I said it will have to take a lot of time before the price of fossil fuels reduces. It can't just reduce overnight.
Drastically.
Yes, because the Dangote has already reduced it. You still have to go, under a lot of processes. Are people going to start hoarding fuel? There is possibility of that, but I don't really see that happening. I believe that if Dangote, maybe other people could join in producing this, it could stabilize and spread through the entire country, that people will not have to start hoarding fuels at the end of the day.
I also want to tie this quickly, go with the increase in flight tickets. We're seeing that the Senate has been calling for investigations into the exorbitant flight tickets that we're seeing now on the side of the aviation, right? From the Minister of Aviation, they've come out to blame government taxes, government levies, the cost of maintenance for this aircraft that they have and all of that. But one of the reasons people as well have moved to using flights more than they've done in the past is because of the rising case of insecurity. But if we have affordable transportation on road, on ground, right, do you think that would shift the demand or reduce the demand for flight tickets and in turn reduce the prices for them?
No, I don't think that will happen. The reason is because, like you said, we still have that insecurity. People are scared of losing their lives, and that is why even yet that the prices of tickets has increased so much. You see people that they rather still go for it.
Yes, people paying as much as 800k per flight ticket.
600,000.
Yes.
It is so much. I just feel that it's as a result of the insurgency we are facing in Nigeria. And we talked about this some days ago, and I was saying that the aviation minister, they have come out to say that their pricing scheme has been deregulated, that the burden is not on them anymore but on the private sectors. But I do not feel that their hands are tied completely. They can still do something about it. We've always seen them go beyond their capacity in the past, so why can't they now do the same thing for Nigerians? You just call these stakeholders together, bring them to a round table, and then you discuss ways, even if it means paying kind of a subsidy, subsidizing the aviation. I mean, we are Nigerians that are doing it for the country people. That's things we are supposed to be enjoying.
From a government that removed subsidy, they should go and pay subsidy again.
No, it's not actually subsidy. I don't know the perfect word to use for it, but I have it in my mind. There is a perfect way that they can still.
That you think that they can maneuver
cut the prices.
And cut the cost of these things. Anyways, I think especially for this festive season and the fact that this period, the December period in Nigeria, has become internationally known for, especially in Lagos or just in Nigeria generally, where you could go celebrate, as is becoming a well-known holiday spot. and location. So it would be in the interest of the government, in order to generate revenues, to make sure that transportation from here to there is affordable and not ridiculous. Let us not chase away tourists, people who want to feel Lagos or feel Nigeria for December. Let us not chase them away with exorbitant flight tickets. Anyways, still talking about Nigerian government and their policies. This has not yet been confirmed. I'm putting it out there, but you know, we've been having the discussions and we've been seeing it from credible posts as well, that there is a possibility, or there is a working behind closed door, to see that the federal government of Nigeria liaise with the government of France to oversee our taxes and send our tax related and economic data to them, to help the Nigerian government provide them with their technology to ensure that people do not maneuver taxes and that people pay their taxes. But Ifoma, what is your take first of all?
Country of particular concern. They have come again. It's quite sad and quite unfortunate that we are handing over our economic sovereignty to France, or what is it called? France. It's quite sad, to be honest. This is the same sovereignty we handed over to China. I remember one time that they said they brought up this thing that schools will now have to be learning Chinese language, that is Mandarin. Yes, that it's made mandatory. We handed over our sovereignty to France. We've handed over our sovereignty to an extent to US, and now we're hearing that we are now going to maybe hand over our sovereignty to France. It's quite,
does Nigeria really belong to us at this point?
No, Nigeria does not belong to us, and it's scary. It's scary that Nigerians have to open up their data for another country, in a country that we have over 230 million people. We have a lot of economics experts in Nigeria that you could sign MOUs with. Now you're opening our data for other countries to come and manage our taxation system. Jesus Christ, it's crazy. It is. To be honest, it's crazy. If this is truly true, it's crazy. It means that Nigerian's government is the same thing that I talk about every single time. They don't even know why they are in that position, that leadership position. They don't even understand their ideology behind it. They don't even know the creation of Nigeria, what Nigeria's sovereignty stands for. It's the same sovereignty that will complain every single time that we are protecting. But look at it.
Now, Mr. Ogochukwu, let's also get your take as well on the matter.
Well, calling in France to handle our taxation, that's so much for a sovereign nation. I would say that it's very unfortunate that this thing is happening in our country. The same country that disregarded and did not want to take help from the United States in insecurity. Now they want, in fact, they are inviting, allegedly, they are inviting France to come and help them, you know, run through these things. I think it's a downgrade to our sovereignty. This is where the real place where we see them overlooking our sovereignty. They're also overlooking credible Nigerians who can actually do these things, because like Ifoma said, I believe that there are Nigerians who are well educated, who actually have the ability to walk through these things, but it's just that our country did not value people with they do not value people with competence. We saw that in their ambassadorial list. We see that almost every time in our country they are going out to seek help from their close ally. I don't want to start digging up theories, but if this is true, I mean, there would be something behind it. Yeah, they can't just, it might be that France has requested for something. I do not know, but I just feel that Nigeria cannot ordinarily go to request for another country's help. Something about tax.
All right, I would love us to take a look at a video where it is really just a commentary on this latest development, and then when we do, we'll come back and continue the conversation.
The government have signed an agreement with France, allowing France into Nigeria's tax administration. Now, what this means is that France is going to be assisting Nigeria in collecting tax from Nigerians. What this also means is that France will be helping Nigeria monitor those who are paying taxes and those who are not paying taxes. So basically, France will be helping Nigeria monitor compliance and also in collection of tax with their technology. Do you get the point now? So it means that a foreign country is involved when it comes to collecting and checking compliance of tax collection in Nigeria. That's basically what it means without the big grammar that we're speaking here. And a lot of Nigerians are bothered that for the Nigerian government to be allowing France into our tax administration is like opening Nigeria's economic dashboard to France. Say, France, come and see how the economy of Nigeria works, ups and downs and everything, which some Nigerians don't find funny. And Nigerians are more worried because when you allow France into Nigeria's tax administration, into Nigeria's tax system, it means Nigeria and France will start sharing sensitive data. Okay? People's tax records, people's financial records, people's personal records. Everything will be available to France because, of course, they are now sharing the same system in cost of monitoring tax payments and tax compliance. Don't act like you're surprised. We all knew that this relationship with France was going somewhere. Okay? And now we have seen the direction. With the new tax regime and the expanding of the tax net from 2026, we all knew it was heading somewhere.
All right, so we just saw that video and I'm just coming to you, Ifoma. What do you think now as the implication? How risky is it if we share our economic data and just open up our economic dashboard to a foreign nation? And how secure is our sovereignty if that happens?
Number one, there is no sovereignty here. For the fact that you shared something as sensitive as our taxation system, you've opened literally everything about Nigeria. You've opened the economy, you've opened the citizens' lives, because I believe every citizen's the data system or the collection system, it will be imputed there. You've literally, without our own consent, you've already opened everything that has to do with Nigerians, and it's quite, alarming. But I think the dots have started connecting to me. I remember, was it last month? I can't remember the time we had this conversation. We were talking about the relationship between France and Nigeria, and the president have constantly been visiting France.
Yes.
It's now that the dots has started, started connecting, because it does not really make sense that other countries like Burkina Faso and the rest of them have closed their doors when it comes to, France, this country, yes, their dependency, and Nigeria is openly, embracing France. You're inviting a country to come and take over your taxation system. What does it imply? These people don't rate us. They don't rate us. The people, intelligent people that in Nigeria, they do not rate them at all. They don't. They don't rate us, Sharon.
At all.
They don't.
And like you rightfully said, there can't be any discussion about sovereignty when such sensitive data is opened up to a foreign nation. Now, Mr. Ugochukwu, do you think that such an arrangement, if it really exists, right, how do you think it can affect national security? Because I'm not asking I'm asking how much do you think it would affect our national security?
It will affect it badly, more than you can even imagine, because the Tinubu administration might send out their data boys to come out and say that the president is close allies with Emmanuel Macron of France. Okay, let's agree with that. But tomorrow, what happens tomorrow when Tinubu is no longer there and the president wants to have different
policies about
different
his own
foreign
country,
policies?
yes.
And now when they are no longer on the same side, they already have that information, and you know how important it is for Nigeria, so they can use it to either manipulate Nigeria or to badger Nigeria into going into war or doing, how these international wars look like.
Yeah.
So I feel it is something that is it's a big disrespect to Nigerians living at home who actually went to school and know how to do these things, because how can you be overlooking your own people and going to seek help from France? We can see United States, how they are going about it, saying America first. Why can't Nigeria embrace such things? And even the tax policy they are talking about, I just want to mention this. You didn't ask me, but let's look at that tax. The minimum wage in Nigeria is 70,000 naira, and according to the tax, if you are earning below 800,000 per annum, you are not to pay tax. But when you calculate 70 times 12, that's 70 into 12 months, it gives you roughly about 840,000.
Yes.
You know what this means is that even the least person is paying tax in Nigeria. That is what it means. I'm talking about the person earning the minimum as a Nigerian worker is paying tax. So this is just, it means that the country is not able to, they are taxing from people who are not even able to afford a standard, let's not even say standard, an average life for themselves.
Yes.
And in doing so, they're not even trying to help us regulate it, at least give us work so we can work and help regulate this tax. They are sending it out to the international, not even international community, to France there over to come and help us regulate it. It's so insulting to Nigerians who are capable of doing those things.
Okay, now finally, right, what do you think, let's talk about the National Assembly for a moment. What role do you think they should play in overseeing agreements of this nature? Because we do have a National Assembly.
A rubber stamp National Assembly.
You see the way I signed because I keep on saying it. The system is a failure.
It's rigged.
Is rigged. It's compromised. Is corrupt. This is rubber stamp. So long as it's coming from the president, every other parastatals that it goes to for approval, they'll definitely approve it. But will it help Nigerians? It will not help Nigerians, but they don't care whether it will help Nigeria or whether it will not help Nigeria. So long as it's coming from the president, they are going to vet it. So if you're asking about the National Assembly, to be honest, I believe you already have the answers, and Nigerians already have the answers.
I think at this point, it is very clear and obvious that if we do not make the right decisions, this is something the Nigerians, not the Nigerian government even or alone, but the Nigerians would have to pay for on a long term. So issues surrounding economy and data should be protected at all costs, especially now that Nigeria is facing the highest level of insecurity in a long time. But first, this is where we're going to call it a wrap on the show. And then thank you to my guest, Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba, for joining us today, and to my co-host, Ifomoji, for doing this with us as always, right here on Active Citizens Parliament. If you're watching for the first time, the show is Active Citizens Parliament, where we discuss Nigerian politics. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube, this is the best time to do so. Do follow us across all socials. It's Active Citizens. And you can find me as well across all media at Sharon Enemchuku. And you, Ifoma.
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Mr. Lex.
Mr. Ugochukwu.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Ugochukwu Afuba.
All right, till we come your way next week, do have an ugly weekend.